66 Batman TV show and then talk about it. Today we're talking about The Perfect Crime. I guess it's The Purr-fect Crime. Originally aired March 16th, 1966. Written by Stanley Ralph Ross and Lee Orgel.
So I don't remember either of their names.
Yeah, me neither. And directed by James Sheldon, who I also don't remember.
Okay.
And if you couldn't tell from the episode title, today is our introduction to Catwoman.
So I know we mentioned we're pretty excited for that.
Yeah. It is, I guess, not the first time she's been talked about on the podcast since we did our Batman Returns Christmas episode, but it's the first time she's appearing in the podcast proper.
Yeah, in the TV show.
Batman 66 fans should know. The series has 3 different Catwoman actresses.
Yeah, not counting like stunt doubles.
So we have the first one debuting here, Julie Newmar.
Yeah, she plays Catwoman during seasons 1 and 2. Should we talk about the other Catwomen now, or should we just bring them up when we get to them?
I guess we can bring them up as we get to them.
Yeah, because it's going to be inevitable that we're going to end up comparing them to each other.
For sure.
But I haven't, since this is the first time I've sat down and watched through this show and like basically ever. My memory on the TV show Catwomen are a little hazy. So I don't want to pit them against each other, or compare them to each other just yet.
Yeah. This is the first time I've seen an episode with the Julie Newmar Catwoman. This is my first experience with her.
Really? You never saw one by accident, like back in the day?
No, I saw Eartha Kitt and, of course, the movie Lee Merriweather. Kind of exciting.
I was pulling up some Catwoman, like of the history of the character and whatnot stuff, because watching this was like, there's a lot of like modern Catwoman stuff in this. I was like, I wonder how much of this, how a lot of it was apparently like that from the beginning. But one of the pieces of trivia I saw is in season 2 of the show, she is the most commonly used villain.
Interesting, especially considering it took her so long to show up here.
Yeah, and so you're end up seeing a bunch of Julie Newmar.
Rad. That's exciting.
But like in general, we usually talk about our history with this villain in general, the Batman franchise. I don't think we got too deep in Batman Returns because there was a lot to cover. We went kind of in depth on the Michelle Pfeiffer version. What do you think of Catwoman in general?
Catwoman is a character I've had mixed feelings about.
Yeah, I'm similar.
So, well, I guess first off, let's bring up that this episode's airing right after Valentine's Day. Yeah,
it's kind of a happy accident.
Yeah.
Or happy coincidence that we usually try to do a holiday special, and just so happens we get like one of Batman's main love interests about the history of the character. Her first appearance just happens to be the same week as Valentine's Day.
Yes. And her being a Batman love interest kind of ruins the character for me a little bit. Not saying that there's no chemistry. A lot of times there is a lot of chemistry, but
it depends on how it's done. I'm not opposed to it. The trouble is like when you do it in the comics, because it's so long running and they kind of always need to refer to the status quo. Like they almost just got married, but had to not get married for stupid reasons. You know what I mean? Like it's always contrived. Versus like in other media, sometimes like them getting together, I like that more. You know what I mean?
So, if you've listened to our Batman Returns episode, I'm a fan of that Catwoman.
I'm not.
And honestly, there's not many versions of Catwoman I'm not a fan of, but I guess my big connection is that movie and the Batman animated series.
Yeah, she's okay in Batman the Animated Series. Like, I never was like, oh no, a Catwoman episode. But I feel like I feel like she was underutilized in that show, looking back at it now.
Yeah, and I think
she is such an important Batman villain.
Yeah, and I just don't see. I think they fail in that series, like giving her and Batman chemistry.
I agree.
Like considering how like Batman acts in that show, like he has no real sympathy for the villain, the criminal.
Yeah.
but he like has this attraction to Catwoman just because that's what the writers want. Like it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I also feel that way too. But like there's iterations. I found in thinking about my experience with Catwoman in preparation for this, I think I like her as not a main character more than when she is the main character. Like Gotham City Sirens is a really good book where that's more of an ensemble one. I really like her in like the Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale stuff. I really like her in the Harley Quinn animated series. But like she's a supporting character in most of that stuff, and like I enjoy her. I mean, to be fair, in Harley Quinn, like Batman's also a supporting character, so them being together is not like the focus of that show.
Am I misremembering, or did you have that Darwin Cook Catwoman?
Yeah. That one's okay. I picked it up just because I'm such a fan of Darwin Cook. I didn't dislike that book, but it's one of those ones that doesn't stick out in my memory. Other than her costume and the art, I really liked. Like that's my favorite Catwoman costume.
Oh yeah, very very cool.
I was saying there's a lot of elements with like the '60s version of it here, just like a more practical version of that one.
I really like this '60s costume.
So do I. It's cool. It's got like the right mix of like being like a cat burglar and then being like a campy themed villain.
Yes.
Yeah. The most boring costume is probably like the Batman or the Dark Knight Rises. That said, I really like how they used her into the Batman with Zoe Kravitz.
I still haven't seen it.
It's really good. It's one of the better Batman like pieces of media I've seen in a while. Yeah, I kind of went into it with a chip on my shoulder too. And was like, this is good.
Maybe we need to do an episode where it's just Kendall finally watches the Batman.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I like her a lot in Hush. I think her ambiguity as like hero and villain is utilized really well.
Yeah, I like her in Hush too, but I was thinking about that because that's also like she's a supporting character in that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where like that's the sweet spot for me for her.
She's just one of those criminals who is always walking the line and is like almost a good guy, and then gets sucked back into criminal activity.
Well, she's a bad guy, but doesn't mean she's a bad guy, you know? Like, I think they play with that in the Batman TV, like the animated series, where like she's not a villain, but she's a thief.
So I do get that, but I feel like Batman is so hard on other criminals who aren't actively hurting anybody. So like as we see in this episode, like Catwoman breaks into a museum and steals some statues. And
I guess we'll get into that, but I think this Catwoman is like unapologetically like evil.
For sure.
Yeah.
But like that's like a thing she does in a lot of Batman media. And it's a thing other criminals do too, and he beats the crap out of them.
Well, I think some of that might also be like standards and practices. Like, I don't think they could have gotten away with Batman punching her in this.
Not saying he needs to punch her. I don't want to see Batman.
No, I don't think that's what you're saying. But you know what I mean. Like, I don't think he could go as hard as he would if this was the Joker.
Yeah, she just gets a pass, and when your comic book has been running for over 1,000 issues or however, it just gets. There's no reason she should have a pass anymore.
Yeah, and I like that. At least in this story so far, they're not doing the will they won't they thing. I know they do that in the movie, but we can get into that when we talk about the movie. But at least with the movie, like it also gives Bruce Wayne, like Adam West, something to do that is not Batman.
Yes.
Yeah, and like
I think it's done in the movie great.
Yeah, I think so too. They have a slightly more complicated scheme. And that where like Bruce Wayne like factors into it.
Yes.
So they need to do stuff with him.
But yeah, Catwoman's a mixed bag for me.
Yeah. I don't dislike her. I guess she's probably my favorite. No. I guess she's like my second favorite female Batman villain. I guess I like Poison Ivy more. You know, I like she's got a more interesting motivation and power set. But I do like Catwoman, and I don't dislike this version like thus far. We've just started seeing Julie Newmar's Catwoman.
Yeah. And I mean, from what I remember of the other two, this Catwoman's pretty cool.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, like, because for a long time when I was a kid, I didn't realize she was played by a different actress than Julie Newmar in the movie. So if I remember correctly, they're going to be kind of similar portrayals.
Yeah, Eartha Kitt is the radically different one.
Yeah, and not just in like skin color. She acts very differently, which is cool.
Yeah. She acts like Eartha Kitt.
Yeah. Well, she
Just
brings she brings it
plays
up
it.
to 11. Yeah.
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 Julie Newmar, have you seen her in anything else?
The only other thing I've seen her in, I don't have the episode in front of me, but she's in an episode of Star Trek: The Original Series, where I remember it was a like McCoy heavy up like focused episode, because she plays like a pregnant alien race, like alien person. They go like out of the way, like, oh, they look human, but like inside they're totally different, and has to try to like help her give birth because it's silly that everyone in the universe is just a white person. Yeah, Friday's Child is what it's called. And the character Eileen.
I had to have seen that episode, but heck if I remember it.
That's all I remember, and I remember because McCoy's my favorite of the original series crew, so I was like, oh, it's a cool one. It says, and I was like, oh, that's Julie Newmar. She's Catwoman, and that's the only other thing I've seen her in.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in anything else, any of these other programs. Should we just get into it then?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, so the perfect crime. It's midnight in Gotham City, as it is once a day. An evil is afoot at the Gotham City Art Museum. There's a guard on patrol, and he hears a cat out of nowhere.
Oh no.
So he draws his gun, because I guess it's weird that would be a cat. And
I guess to be fair, like, there is a woman named Catwoman who uses a cat to steal stuff.
Yeah, that's true. She's been mentioned many times throughout the series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess he was right to draw his gun. It gets whipped out of his hand, and then a just normal-sized black cat
like
pounces on him and
so this
knocks him down.
This gave me my first thing. It's like, when did Catwoman get her whip? Because I don't know why that feels like a modern thing. But she's had it since her first appearance. She's had a whip because it's a cat of nine tails.
That makes sense.
Since Batman #1, 1940. So I was like, okay, I guess it's just always been a thing. But I thought maybe it was like, oh, you know what? Maybe did having a whip come from like lion taming? But no, she's just always had one.
Yeah,
I don't think it really helps you like steal stuff. I know Indiana Jones uses a whip and he steals stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's just the classic like adventure thing. It's just fallen out of favor because this stuff is so old.
I mean, the cat of nine tails connection makes sense, right?
It does. Yeah, because of course, if you add the puns for these characters.
But this cat, you have cats, I have cats. They've never knocked me down.
I mean, I've had some big cats, like not big cats like lions and tigers, but like large domesticated cats like jump on me. But yeah, I don't think I would have been bowled over.
Maybe he was surprised. I don't know.
Even still, like, I mean, obviously it's just he was supposed to get knocked out in the script. He did.
A gloved hand decorated with cat claws where the fingernails would be slices a hole in the glass casing of this cat statue that's on display at the museum, and reaches in, takes the statue, and
here's what happens. First, she taps the glass with a hammer, I think, to see where like its weak spot is. Then she cuts that hole, and then she just hits it with a hammer. So like you could have just smashed your way in and been fine. It's not like doing that prevented any like alarm from going off.
Oh, but it was cool.
I'm not saying it wasn't cool. I just my notes say only a master thief uses a hammer to get through glass.
That makes sense that she was looking for a weak spot with the hammer.
Yeah, that's what I assume. I mean, it was just the middle of it anyway, but...
Well, we cut to police headquarters. You know the deal. Gordon and O'Hara are like, who would steal this statue?
Yeah, she stole a cat statue. I don't know if we mentioned that.
Yeah, it was a golden cat statue.
Yeah.
An odd-looking man has left a delivery for the commissioner. It's a box with a kitten and a newspaper in it.
Yeah. I wrote, I wish criminals just gave me kittens. Although I also wrote, isn't this kind of like a form of animal abuse, though? Like just putting it in the box.
Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah, this Catwoman has like probably the worst relation with like feline animals of any of the Catwomen.
Yeah, she uses them a lot in her schemes.
But like, I mean, we'll get more into them as we see them. But like, she's just throwing cats at people and stuff.
Yeah. The newspaper has a picture of Mark Andrews, I think his name was.
Yeah.
He is the owner of 2 golden cat statues. And there's a picture of him in the newspaper clipping holding them. Mm-hmm. And one of the cat statues is X'd out. Now, us viewers know that one of them was stolen, so...
Yeah, presumably that's the one.
Yeah. Finally, it all clicks for the commissioner. It's got to be Catwoman behind this. We cut to Wayne Manor, and Bruce and Dick are playing 4D chess.
No, I don't. Because I wrote, what the fuck kind of chess is that, is one of my notes. I think it's just 4 games of chess stacked on top of each other.
Weird.
I mean, you were in chess club. You ever seen anything like this?
Never.
I mean, there's like tri-level chess in Star Trek, but that's like a real game you can play. But like, it's apparently that's like one game. This is like 4 complete boards like stacked on each other.
Yeah, don't know what that's about. Let's see if a quick Google search gives us anything. So there's 3-dimensional chess where your pieces can move. So maybe they were playing some form of that game from Star Trek.
It's possible. Like, I'm trying to wrap my head around this description, and I can't do it. I'm not smart enough.
I think it'll take a little more than us just glancing while recording this podcast that's not about chess.
I don't think I could get my head around it to begin with. I'm pretty bad at regular 1D chess.
Alfred shows up. They get the call. You know what it is. Song and dance.
Yeah.
Aunt Harriet has milk and cookies. They tell her they'll eat their snack later.
Mm-hmm.
The dynamic duo get to police headquarters, and Mark Andrews is there. And he's telling them that the second cat is on display at the Gotham City Exposition.
Which Exposition's kind of a fun name because they're using it as exposition, like the writing tool.
Yeah. Whoa. Chief O'Hara offers to put some cops on the stake out there because naturally that's where Catwoman would strike next.
Of course.
Batman says no cops.
Yeah.
He thinks too many cops will tip off Catwoman that they're on to her and she won't make her move.
And that's fair.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I think that's a fair thing to think.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Batman's not even sure that she's really going to strike there. He kind of thinks that the lead might be false, but nevertheless, they head over.
Yeah.
Before they drive off, they get into the Batmobile, and Robin doesn't buckle his safety belt.
Yeah, I have a note that I want to talk about this. This is my favorite kind of thing the show does. Like ultra square Batman. Like, listen, one day soon you're going to be driving. And one day you're going to drive the Batmobile and maybe other vehicles. And you have to be a good citizen and be like an example of all this stuff. And his wife was like, and then Robin's like, oh gosh, Batman, you're always right. Like, I love ultra corny Batman. It's so great.
Yeah. Definitely morally driven.
Yeah. But he is right. You should, even though Robin's like, we're only doing a couple of blocks, like, you should still wear your seatbelt. Especially with the way they drive.
Yeah, they drive like maniacs.
And they don't even have a roof on their car.
Yeah, Robin could go flying.
Yeah, like a Robin.
Like a Robin do. We cut to Catwoman's hideout. It is Gato and
Shot.
Yeah, Gato and Shop Fur Company.
Which I got really excited because it's like, oh, I know both of those are cat in some other language. It's Spanish and French.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got really excited. I was like, ooh, it's like, I knew a thing.
Yeah. And you know what? Oh, God, the payoff of this pays off a season long story that's been happening.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, don't get too excited. We'll get there. Catwoman's two henchmen, Leo and Felix, are wondering why she doesn't sell this statue. Catwoman's entrance here is so cool because we've seen her hands.
Anyone's had so far.
Yeah, we've seen her hands, but we haven't seen the rest of her at this point. All the lights in the hideout are down low, and she comes walking in. Her face is obscured, and she's telling the goons it's not their place to question her methods. Yeah, it's just really cool. She sits in a chair and clicks on a light, and we finally see her face.
Yeah, it's a good one.
What are the other entrances? I guess the first time we see the Joker, he's
just playing baseball.
Softball, or baseball.
Yeah. Riddler, doesn't he just show up?
Yeah, I think he just shows up.
I mean, granted, we get a riddle before. Like, so I guess there's a little build up. Penguin's just there. Like, everyone's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Elder the Great was in like a disguise and robbing a bank. So at least that was something, but this is the coolest entrance anyone's gotten so far.
Catwoman asks Leo if he got the books from the library. We don't know what that means, but he confirms that he's got them.
Yeah, she's obviously got some greater scheme than just taking cat statues.
For sure. She makes sure Felix, who is an odd-looking man, she makes sure that he made his delivery to the commissioner's office.
Yeah.
Which us viewers know that he did. And yeah, everything seems to be ready to go for her plan. Her goons leave, and we see that one of the books she has talks about a story called The Lost Treasure of Captain Manx.
Mm-hmm.
Which Manx is a type of cat, right?
I believe so. Yeah, it's a breed of cat.
And the two cat statues are somehow related to this treasure. Possibly. That's our theory anyway. At the Batcave, Robin and Alfred begin recharging the Batmobile with the atomic pylon thing.
Yeah, which is cool.
It's the first time we see this, right?
I think so. I know they mentioned that that atomic nuclear reactor is the power of the Batmobile. Which this scene was really cool. Also because it made me think about The Simpsons and about how Batman's a scientist.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's an episode called Marge versus the Monorail, where they build a monorail in town, but it's all the corners are cut, so it's kind of going off the one rail during its maiden voyage, and we need a scientist. And Homer's like, "Can you get Batman?" She's like, "No, stop." Or I found a scientist. He's like, "Is it Batman?" She's like, "It's not Batman." It's like, Batman's a scientist, but he kind of is.
He kind of is.
This version of him, yeah, especially. Because he starts doing making some sort of potion or something. And he uses nuclear exhaust from the Batmobile.
Yeah, so they're siphoning off, that nuclear exhaust.
Oh no, they're getting the radiation off of it. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, and he's basically making a radioactive, a low radioactive spray.
Yeah, which is good because they mentioned they're going to do basically it can be something the Batmobile can trace. So they'll put it on the other cat statue. Catwoman happens to get it, they can follow her.
Yeah. Pretty good plan. I'm curious if they ever use this idea for anything ever again.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they don't always know what the next target's going to be. So, we'll see what happens, but we'll try to keep that in mind and see if they do it again.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's going to be plenty of opportunity for it. Batman and Robin head over to the Gotham City Exposition.
Mm-hmm.
They cut the line as they're there for police business.
Again, this is another one of those scenes I really like.
as the ticket taker, who is Leo in disguise. As he ushers them in, Batman stops and
He
he
insists
says
on
that they'll,
paying. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they got to pay just like any normal citizen.
Yeah. I love that stuff. Because he's like, oh, you must be on official business. Let me let you in. So you can go be Batman. He's like, no, I pay like everybody. That's what keeps these exhibitions and like open and for the public and stuff. I was like, it's so funny. It's so unique to this version of Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's part of what makes it so charming.
Felix is a little nervous about the plan. And I guess that's his like shtick, huh? He's like a scaredy cat. And Leo's like a brave cat.
Yeah, they're scaredy cats. Doesn't she have a third guy? I don't think he gets a name.
I have not watched the second episode. I think there's only 3 guys.
I know they say Felix and Leo. I was trying to keep track of their names. I was like, you heard Felix first, and I was like, oh, is the other one going to be like Garfield and Heathcliff? But I don't think those guys existed yet.
I wonder.
Obviously, Leo the lion, like that's a common like lion thing. That's its constellation.
Yeah. And MGM's line is named Leo.
Yeah, and like Felix the cat was a thing as a cartoon character.
Yeah, I do love Felix the cat. He's a cool guy.
Got a magic bag sometimes.
Sometimes. Batman's misting the cat with that radioactive stuff. Hopefully everyone at this museum doesn't develop cancer or something.
Well, I think they mentioned something about like it's a very low dose, but you still want to be careful.
Batman and Robin are staking this statue out. The exposition closes and they're just hanging out, doing rounds. We check in on them a little bit in the future as they've been there for a moment, and Batman says he's gonna check all the exits again just to make sure nothing's going on. He tells Robin that he will return in 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
So specific.
So specific. But while he's gone, Robin gets jumped by a cat.
Yeah.
The same cat that was in the other museum.
And you know what? I think this one, like its nails are poisoned or something, or its claws are poisoned or something, because Robin goes down and is like paralyzed. Maybe that's what happened to the guy the first time around.
Yeah, so Batman confirms that.
Yeah. But again, whenever they go to like a set you've never seen before, look at all the fun stuff that you could be like slam into people and destroy, because that's what's about to happen.
Yeah, so Robin's kind of out of commission here, because I was like, just 2 goons? Because Catwoman doesn't really fight, at least not here. So it's like, 2 goons doesn't seem like enough to take on Batman, but maybe with Robin out of the fight, they stand a chance. There's a fight scene. Batman wins, of course.
Yeah, it's an onomatopoeia fight, which are always fun when you get them early.
Yeah, and they destroy all the stuff in this exposition. These priceless artifacts.
Yeah.
Which is so funny considering how insistent Batman was on paying his entry.
I think they probably have insurance, but like I can see the Wayne Foundation wanting to picking up the tab or something. But still, like they are priceless. Like it's all like ancient stuff.
Yeah. So wild.
Yeah. But yeah, after while they're fighting, I think Catwoman like snatches up the statue and gets out.
Yeah. Everyone gets away. Batman attends to Robin, gives him the universal antidote pill that's come up a couple times.
Yeah.
Which I'm so happy they like remember that that's a thing.
Yeah, because that's a pretty powerful tool.
Yeah. So we find out at the Gato and Chat Fur Company that Catwoman is setting a trap for Batman here.
Yeah.
Like she knows if she's making this move, Batman's coming after her.
And she does something with the cats on her table, like she puts them like back to back and puts a piece of paper over them, starts like tracing.
Yeah, like making an etching out of them or something.
Yeah. So clearly they do something together, because she doesn't seem to be worried if they take the cats back.
It's very cool. I like this scheme here.
Yeah.
Batman and Robin are able to trace the statue. they get to the Gato and chat fur company, and
Yeah, Robin then mentions that's cat in 2 different languages, and I was like, oh well, I guess I would have found out anyway, even if I didn't know that.
but so that's like the season long thing, right? Like how many
He's
languages
learning
is
French and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's just always like, oh, languages, they're so hard.
And then after
Bruce
he says that stuff, like Batman's like, this is why it's worth learning, learning this stuff.
Yeah. So pretty cool that they kind of worked that in.
I agree.
Batman is pretty certain that they're walking into a trap. So instead of opening the door or kicking it down, they use
the bat beam.
The bat beam. Have they used this before?
I think they did. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I wasn't surprised to see it.
In case they haven't, or in case listeners like me forget, an antenna comes out of the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Shoots a laser beam.
Yeah, shoots like a cartoon lightning bolt. It just blows up the door.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. Like, why don't they use this more often?
Yeah, just this weapon of mass destruction. And it also, I feel like that alone makes sense why the Batmobile is like nuclear powered.
Yeah, it's atomic. I might be thinking like they kind of have like a handheld like laser sometimes. That might be what I'm thinking. Because I know
like the heat ray in his utility belt. Yeah,
that might be what I'm thinking.
But I feel like they might have used this before.
Yeah.
Anyway, it blows up the door, and they're like, it was booby trapped after all, because it explodes.
Yeah.
So they walk in, and where the hole in the wall is, a secret door slides, locking them in this room. They're not there for long, though, because a trap door then opens under their feet.
Mm-hmm. So this is where I put my note in this. I was like, this is where I was starting to really notice, like, this episode looks really cool. Like, there's a lot of fun cinematography and like playing with lights and stuff. And I'm like, this is a cool looking episode.
Yeah, right. And there's a lot of like this set is like insane.
Yeah.
Oh wait, so before the trap door,
yeah.
Robin is like, oh, good thing we used the bat beam. We might have been killed.
Yeah.
And the Batman's like, or worse. And I'm so curious as to what he's implying.
Well, so the or worse, like at least in the regular DC comics, like Batman knows about all of like the multiverse and like the different afterlives and shit. Like I don't think this Batman does. Well, like there could be worse things that happen to you. You could be like come catatonic. Would also the Catwoman thing,
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Just being dead, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
So trapdoor opens. They go falling into this room with like spiked walls and
closing in. And I looked at my watch when this is happening. This seems like the end of episode like cliffhanger. I'm like, they got a lot of time left.
Yeah. But the walls are closing in, and Batman tells Robin to get to the ground. He's going to try to force the walls apart with brute strength.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what was he going to do? Like, I would probably throw one of my bat bombs at it and try to make a hole in the wall.
Yeah. Use that cutting torch.
Yeah. Man, this one's closing up real fast, like way faster than Star Wars and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. It's all for nothing, though. The spikes are just rubber.
Yeah. I wrote in my notes, it seems more like a Joker trap, like that's some sort of joke.
That's true, but yeah, I don't get this whole like taunting thing going on here.
And I thought maybe they're gonna play it up where like it's like they like Batman and Catwoman like each other kind of thing, which is why she's like taunting him. But they mentioned it's like a cat and mouse game and stuff. I think that's more just what they were going for.
Robin yells "Holy ice picks" as the walls are closing in. I thought that was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then doesn't Robin get sucked up in a Willy Wonka tube now?
Not quite yet. Okay. First, a little like cat door, like that would be on your like back door leading to your yard.
Oh yeah.
It's open and Felix throws a bomb in
Yeah, like one
there.
of those like round cartoon bombs that some days you
Uh,
just can't get rid of.
yep.
Yeah.
And Batman picks it up to try to like disarm it. And a little flag pops up and it says meow on it.
Again,
Very Joker-esque.
Very Joker, very United Underground.
And yes, it's here where a Willy Wonka tube sucks Robin up out of the room. So yeah, that's the last we see of Robin, right?
Yeah, we don't know where he goes. Yeah,
he's just gone.
Like Catwoman makes some jokes about how like she's gonna pluck his feathers because it's a cat and a bird.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Catwoman is going to give Batman a chance to stop her, though. We get a classic doors number 1 and 2 situation.
Yeah. Well, she keeps saying, like, pick the right door, and I'm right behind it. So I'm like, does she actually want him to pick the door on the right or not?
So I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And I wonder if
she kept calling it the right door and the wrong door, I think.
I mean, Batman does pick the right door.
Yeah, but it's the wrong door. She did reverse psychology like a cat.
Reverse psychology. Yeah, I mean, I guess she's not the Riddler, so she could play a little dirty. Before Batman picks a door, though, she asks him if he's a betting man.
Yeah.
To which he replies, I never gamble.
Like, you gamble with your life every day, Batman.
Maybe he's so confident that he doesn't see it that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, behind one door is Catwoman, waiting to be arrested. Behind another door is a tiger.
Yeah.
As we said, Batman picks the right door, and wouldn't you know it?
It's the wrong door.
There's a tiger. It's there.
And then this is our episode cliffhanger.
Yeah. Batman's in deep trouble. I guess he's going to have to fight a wild animal next episode.
Yeah, I've got things to say about that.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I'm curious how he gets out of it. Does he have bat repellent tiger spray?
That would have been funny.
Or rather, tiger repellent bat spray? I love the stinger at the end.
Oh, yeah, because this is really cool. Yeah.
As it always does, it invites viewers to join them tomorrow night. And here we get same cat time, same cat channel.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. Well, first I was like, I didn't realize that's what he's like. I wasn't paying attention. I was like, did he say same cat chime? And I looked up.
He sure did. So yeah, what did you think of this episode?
I think it's a solid start. I think they set up a potentially interesting second half. Obviously, that's a cool cliffhanger with Batman versus a tiger, but like, what happened to Robin? What's Catwoman's real plan? What's like the history of Gotham City and Captain Manx got to do with anything,
Yeah, so
but like even then there was still like a fight scene with goons. Like villain got to do a bunch of stuff. They got the upper hand on Batman and Robin like at least twice. You got a fake out death trap, There was fun stuff happening.
So a lot of these 2-part episodes, the villains have 2-part plans.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this one does the best job of like alluding to it.
Yeah, like kind of setting it up. Like it's obviously her plan obviously is in stages because she had to steal each of the cats.
Yeah, but Ballspace's plan was apparently in stages. He said that this is stage 1.
Yeah.
When he stole that crown. But that was nothing.
Yeah.
And like the Riddler never made good on his lawsuit. This one makes a lot of sense.
The lawsuit one's the most disappointing one.
Catwoman could potentially get whatever info she needs from these statues, hide that information somewhere, go to jail.
Yeah.
And then next time she breaks out or is on parole, like get what she's really after.
Yeah, but I'm sure she'd rather avoid going to jail because she could just in theory kill Batman and Robin right now.
She very much could.
Yeah.
She's had a couple chances, but those were just jokes.
Yeah, I don't think that tiger, you can stop him from killing Batman and Robin like that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm curious.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Me too. Me too. Speaking of next episode, what's that called?
Better luck next time.
Please join us here for Better Luck Next Time. Next week. Same cast time,